Hi, I'm Mike, one of the founders here at Advisory. I want to thank you for your decision to work with us, but I also want to impress upon you the need to get familiar with the fundamental growth curve. In fact, there's 5 key areas that this growth curve is going to help you in going to scale in advisory services. Let's go find out what they are. When you log in as a firm manager and go to the Get Organised section, you come up to Help and you'll see the framework philosophy, and that will bring you to the page that we're on. In a second, we're going to explore the architecture. But just for the moment, for those, just so that we're all clear, this is the growth curve we're talking about. In essence, what it does is it says, hey, there's 9 stages that a business goes through, and at each stage there are different issues and problems and resources that a business owner could expect to encounter. Your role as the advisor is to bring their attention to that in advance and help them prepare. Now, how this architecture helps you are in these 5 key areas. If you knew where all your clients were on that curve, you would be better able to focus your attention around your resources, who to hire, which clients to focus on. You'd be much better prepared, and all of the tools that we have in our planning section are there to help you make more strategic viewed decisions when you want to go to scale around your advisory services. The other key area that the growth framework is around your packaging. So let's explore that for a minute. If you do a review of many accounting firms' websites, what you'll see on their website is a package selection, maybe a gold, silver, bronze. For this much money, you get this. For this much money, you get that, and so on. And they're normally set up in what we call a contrast model, like a row of 3 or 4 or something like that. The psychology behind this is what we call priming. Maybe the first one looks really cheap. Maybe the big one looks really expensive. I'll go for the one in the middle. It doesn't evoke a sense of journey for the client. And the other key thing is it's really conveying to the client, this is what you get, this is what you pay for, but it never discusses what you need. One of the advantages of the growth curve is you're able to say to the client, if you're at this stage in your journey, these are all the things you need to know. We can check and see if you know them. If you don't know them, let's talk about how we help you learn them over the time to come. So now you've almost done a mini total needs discovery. These are all the things you're likely to encounter, Mr. and Mrs. Client. You can choose how quickly you want to deal with them depending on what's going on in your business, your desires, and your budget. But now you've got the ability to communicate to clients the journey and the assistance you can provide them rather than just a singular section or a box, tick the box item, which then sets them up to think that year after year, that's all they need. And for you to try and shift them out of that box becomes progressively harder. That's one of the huge advantages of the growth curve, is it helps plot the way ahead. Which brings us back to the issue of coaching. Now that you've got an understanding of where the client is, and at this point it might just be a guess, but you've got some idea, now you can start to deal with your team members to identify what do they need to be focusing on, what are the things that they could take out to a client. Instead of just looking at a client going, well, I don't know, let's just give them a cash forecast, you can actually go, well, these are all the things that that client's likely to encounter. Which of those are you comfortable to deliver already? What are the things that you'd need to learn before you could deliver? And what are the things that you'd never want to deliver? So now you can start to gain leverage across your firm and play your people to their strengths. Of course, it then brings us to the next bit, which is sales. Well, half the sales is done for you because the client, in accepting their position on the curve, identifies with the issues. So they've already identified that that's a relative step to take. It's an easier process for you to then talk about the timing and the other issues that need to support it. So the issue itself becomes a lot softer. The discovery is kind of done for you via the growth curve, which then of course makes the delivery easier. And this is where the tools within advisory help to drive it in. If we can get the client engaged on the journey, if they can see where they're going and they can see the next steps, then we can tie in the vision of why they're doing it, and they're going to be a lot more engaging because they're going to see sequentially how it all bolts together. Now remember, your advisory coach is here to help explain the whole process to you. It's just important that you understand the critical aspect of the growth fundamental curve so that you don't just ignore it, and also to recognize that all the features that sit within advisory, all of the different tools are built to help you go to scale. So if you want to get more of your team doing more advisory services with more clients more often, having your clients more engaged, then get familiar with the framework and utilize advisory. That's what it's here for.